Ohtani pitches live BP in Queens. I see the Ohtani effect on Sunday Night Baseball in person. And can players sue Major League Baseball? All that and more on today's episode of Closers. A post-Memorial Day edition of Closers. I'm James the Greek. Joining me, as always, Mr. 69, former New York Met, David Aardsma. DA, what's going on, pal? How are you?
And former Los Angeles Dodger, David Aardsma.
And former everything else, David Aardsma.
I was only spring training with the Dodgers. I played minor leagues with the Dodgers, so I don't actually call it like my official in the big leagues. They're not one of the 8. I think it is 8, but they're one of the 14. And so I wore the Dodger blue. I went to spring training. I felt like I was there.
Did you ever sign a check from the Dodgers?
Yes.
Okay, then you're a Dodger. If the
Dodgers, but not a big league check.
But it's a check. You got money from them. So you were an employee. So you were a player on the team. So you get that money.
And I'll take every little penny of it.
Yep. And you didn't even give me my percentage.
Nothing technically is stopping them.
There you go. How was your Memorial Day weekend? Do anything good?
It was nonstop. It was go, go, go all weekend. There was not a moment of relaxation. We drove up Friday to Flagstaff. So down here in Phoenix, Flagstaff's about 2 hours away. It is a totally different world. 105 here, and it was 45 there.
Wow.
2 hours. I mean, this is Arizona. There's still snow on top of the mountain. The ski resort was still open. But we had a baseball tournament. So we had a game Saturday night, 2 games Sunday, 2 games Monday. Drove down here. Then my crazy, psychotic, insane wife decided to get me to hike up a mountain after 6 hours on the field, 2 hours of driving, and then we get home organized, and they're like, "Hey, let's go hike." I'm like, "This," and it's not a leisurely hike; like it is a go. We are racing each other up this mountain at 100 degrees, and I won, of course.
All right, that's my boy.
Listen, she beat me on the way down, but again, 7 weeks out of hip replacement, I wasn't going to go full sprint.
You're a former professional athlete, and you should always let your wife go down first.
No.
All right, let's get it started. My Memorial Day weekend involved baseball, and I got to see my favorite team and my favorite player who were on complete opposing sides. So it was a very, very cool experience for once. So Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Dodgers come into Citi Field for Sunday Night Baseball. And dude, it was so weird. It was unlike a crowd I've ever seen at Citi Field before, because usually it's hardcore Met fans, but because it's the Dodgers and there's so many Brooklyn Dodger fans that grew up and became Los Angeles Dodger fans, there were a lot of Dodgers jerseys. And it was funny because it was Mark Vientos bobblehead night, and we got there too late to get.
Which day did you go?
Sunday night. So for Sunday Night Baseball.
So Sunday Night Baseball was Mets 3-1.
Yeah.
All right.
So it was Mark Vientos bobblehead night. We got there too late. We weren't able to get our bobbleheads. And my buddy Tommy, who came with me to the game, he hears a couple of guys in Dodger jerseys saying, "Damn, I wish we could trade these for a couple of beers." I turned around like, "You want beer? I'll give it to you." So we bought these guys a couple of beers. We got the bobbleheads, which was really
$45 each.
Well, it came out, I bought 4 beers, and it came out with the discount for season ticket holders. It came out to like $70.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I
wasn't that far off.
No, you weren't. But it was cool. I made some new friends. Alex, you want to show the picture of my new friends? There we go. So I saw these
girls.
2 lovely Japanese ladies who were big Ohtani fans. And since I saw Japanese women and I saw an Ohtani flag, of course, "May I take a picture with you?" And their response was, like typical Japanese girls. They were very, very sweet. But when I said, "Arigato gozaimashita," after I took the picture, they freaked out. They're like, "What the hell?" I was like, "I was in Japan last year." And they're like, "Oh," it was pretty damn cool.
You didn't say the bad Japanese terms that I know.
No, I don't know those bad Japanese terms. I'm a good boy.
Ichiro taught me. Ichiro made sure I said them correctly.
Well, I didn't have the pleasure of hanging out with Mr. Ichiro. Excuse me. So it was really, really cool. The amount of Japanese people that were at the game was absolutely astounding, David.
Were
There were
they the ones you talked to? Were they New York? Were they living in New York, or did they travel in?
I didn't talk to them because people were trying to get to, where you see it, it's right by the stairs. So people were trying to, get into their seats. So I didn't want to bother people and have a long conversation with these girls. They're very sweet, but they were very shocked when I asked to take a picture. So it was cool. A lot of what was even cooler is that Kodai Senga was pitching, and I saw a lot of Mets jerseys with Senga and kanji on the back, which I definitely have to add that to my jersey collection. But it was just so cool
Why? What was a Senga and kanji?
because Senga is Japanese.
The kanji. Oh, in kanji. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought that was
So,
also on there. I'm like, that's interesting.
no, it was just in kanji. A lot of people ordered them, special so that people could, so people can represent the Japanese culture with the
That's cool.
Kodai Senga jersey. I thought it was really cool. I'd like to get one of those. Very, very cool. What bothered me the most, though, is how many people booed when Shohei Ohtani was at the plate. Now, I kind of understand because, the Mets got knocked out by the Dodgers last year in the NLCS, and I totally get that. But you're witnessing greatness, and how you're booing. I just can't.
They're not booing greatness. They're not booing Ohtani. They're just booing because he's the bad guy he's the best guy on the bad guy team. Like, you just boo him. Like, oh, you're not a bad. Like, damn it, boo. You can't. It's the same when I hear that, like when they do that sort of stuff. You're basically clapping. It's respect, and I respect you because you're like, stop hitting home runs off of us. Which second pitch of the game?
Second pitch, and I got a great video of it. Did you see the video I sent you?
I did.
Dude, how awesome was the timing on that video? Just
Perfect.
Boom, hits it, and it was a shot. It wasn't even like, it almost went into the, like, where people were standing in the field. It was crazy. He hit the hell out of that ball. What was really funny, though, is when he got struck out later in the game, my buddy Tommy wants to give me a high five, and I'm like, I don't know what to root for here because the Mets got him out, but it's my favorite player, so I was like, okay. But then he made a great point. He's like, you got to see your home run, so be happy. You got to see the home run from Ohtani, and now we're gonna win the game. So life was good. It was a good day.
What's cool is that you were the only one in the stadium with a camera on Ohtani when he hit it, which is pretty amazing.
Not even close. Everybody.
No one was expecting it at all.
No.
Not that he's the major league leader in home runs or anything.
Yeah. So, but I really enjoyed the game. It was very, very cool. And it was my first time going to Sunday Night Baseball. So I enjoyed that too. So
it's a different feel, right? It's a different energy.
Absolutely. It was just a different feel all around. I've never been in Citi Field when there were that many away fans ever. Even last year during the playoffs when I went, there were not very many Dodger fans, but that's probably because it cost more and the season ticket holders weren't about to let their tickets up for the playoffs. So I can completely understand that, but never experienced seeing Citi Field with that many outsiders, unless it's Mets Yankees, and then you can expect it because it's same city.
Okay, couple questions here.
Yeah.
One, Sunday Night Baseball, did it have more energy than like a Saturday night game?
It had a lot more energy just because the place was completely packed. I don't think there was an empty seat in the house.
I've always noticed Sunday Night Baseball just has this different, like a football feel, a little bit like we're not supposed to be here. But then there's two things. It clears out a lot quicker. It's usually quieter at the end, but a little bit weirder, different energy at the beginning, a little bit more excitement because Saturday, you're there and they're there all night. They're there. But Sunday, it's like, whoa, a lot. And then at the end, it kind of tapers off a little bit because it's like, all right, guys, like,
well, we didn't have to deal with that because everybody stayed till the end of the game. There was very few people leaving because don't forget, the next day, Memorial Day, 95% of people are off. So people were just having fun, drinking. There were people trying to buy bobbleheads for $10 a piece, which I spent 20 for it from the beer, so I'm not going to sell it to anybody. I have it in my office now at the store. But yeah, it was cool.
Okay. Anyone else on the Dodgers get booed, and with that, anyone else on the Dodgers that kind of stood out was impressive to watch?
I mean, impressive to watch. You're always impressed by watching Mookie Betts. Landon Knack had a hell of a game. I did not expect him to pitch as well as he did, but no, basically the
pitch, 1 run, 5 Ks. He gave up 1 home run to Alonso, I believe it was, and then 4 hits.
Yeah, he pitched great, but no, the boos were just for Ohtani, which kind of bothered me. But
what do you think of Senga? He didn't have the sharpest of outings. Got the dub. Only gave up 1 run, but 4 walks, 5 punchies.
So it's funny because Senga hasn't been all that sharp as of late, but he still has the lowest ERA. Yeah, but he still has the lowest ERA among starting pitchers in the National League. When are we going to start talking about Kodai Senga as one of the best pitchers in baseball? Very under the radar.
Very under the radar right now, especially with Yamamoto, how well he's been pitching, and obviously the list of some of the other guys, and in particular some guy who's dating some girl out of Pittsburgh. But I think the history of injury stuff and just hasn't been, you give me 3 months of consistent great baseball, and then I guarantee you All-Star break, his name will be around everywhere.
Yeah, but it's funny. He is so good. Like, that ghost fork is no joke. He can strike out anybody with that pitch. And it's really cool on the Jumbotron. Whenever he strikes out somebody with the ghost fork, they put a ghost up. But if it's something other than the ghost fork, it's a K.
Is that why it is?
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I've seen it. I've seen posts on X about it. I just never took the time to research it. I didn't know. I'm just like, okay, well, they're doing something interesting and cute and fun out down there in Queens, but that's cool. Juan Soto, what did you see?
People were cheering him. There wasn't that many boos. It's funny because you hear the loud minority constantly talking about Soto on Twitter and on sports radio, but the vast majority of Mets fans, like I've said in the past, we've dealt with this. We saw Lindor, we saw Beltran, we saw Piazza. We know it takes a while, so we're cool.
Even Alonso last year,
Alonso last year. But again, the biggest comparison is Lindor.
Their first year, I get it.
Lindor, it's still fresh in our memory. He hasn't been a Met that long that we forgot that he was booed mercilessly in the beginning. We know it takes a little while. It might take the whole year, but we're not going to be pissed off at a guy that we signed for 15 years.
No. And I get it. He's not playing all-star caliber baseball, but they're winning baseball games. They're playing good, and they won the series.
That's it. Against what I think is the best team in baseball. So it was a lot of fun. Now, before the game, Ohtani did something that he hasn't done in a very long time.
How cool is this?
I didn't get to see this, unfortunately, but take a look at this video that we have on the screen right now. And I want you to look at his delivery and tell me, what do you see out of this guy right now? Because this is that's just nasty.
That's absolutely filthy. That's nasty. He's having fun. What you gotta love is that he's living the energy on it. I heard he was up to 97. You have to love the energy and the excitement, the fun. He's going out there with a big smile. You just know it's going to be good. It's game time for him. He's throwing this before the game, which is amazing that you're doing it on the road before a game. This is not normal. It's not uncommon, but it's not a normal thing. This usually happens somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then it's obviously Ohtani. It's the Dodgers. I think there's a little different understanding of Major League Baseball today than there might have been a little bit before. But he's on the field having blast. What I'm seeing of his delivery is it looks very similar. It doesn't look like he's going full out like he has in the past. Like when you see him on the mound, there's a different energy. There's a different kick. There's a different, with his leg especially coming through, quickness. But it looks very similar to what it was before. My bigger question to you, James, and we've talked about it, and I know I want to see him pitch. Should he be pitching for the Dodgers?
Yes, he should absolutely be pitching for the Dodgers because I guarantee you one of the questions that he asked the Dodgers before he signed was, will you allow me to pitch?
Yes.
And if you do not allow him to pitch, I personally would sue the hell out of the Dodgers. Now, I know he can't, but at the end of the day, when you give your word, it's your bond. And it's kind of the reason why I have the little issue with the Red Sox and Rafi Devers. Have the respect to keep your word. You said that you signed me as a third baseman. I'm a third baseman. You said you signed me as a DH/pitcher. I am a DH/pitcher. And what makes Ohtani so special is his ability to do that. And why take that away from the baseball fan? I don't know why you would do that unless you're really worried that he's going to hurt himself again. And I can understand that worry. I certainly can. You invested a lot of money in Shohei Ohtani, but this is what he does. And you don't want a moody $700 million pitcher.
I love it. I don't think I've ever seen. Have you ever seen Ohtani be moody?
If they tell him he can't pitch, I bet you he would be moody.
Yeah, I would. It'd be really interesting to ever see him be moody. I don't think I've ever seen him in a bad mood. I've seen him in like kind of like upset at moments, but usually it's always an incredible mood.
I've seen him upset. The game that I went to Yankee Stadium when I spent $300 for one ticket and he got his butt handed to him in the first inning, and all I got to see was 2/3 of an inning from Ohtani and one strikeout.
That's right.
Yeah, I was not happy about that. My question for you, though, David, is a lot of people are wondering how the Dodgers are going to handle his rehab assignments. And from my point of view, and from a lot of people's point of view, you can't send them, to the minor leagues to get some rehab starts. You kind of have to do it while he's with the Dodgers because you're going to lose your best player and your leadoff hitter. Is that the right way to do it?
You send them for rehab starts on those days, on like the night before, and then you get them back that day. So I'm trying to put myself in a coordinator role, put my coordinator hat on, but this is obviously done higher level than coordinator. The coordinators involved in these decisions, or more, let me put this. They're involved in the process of this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a couple things here, and I'm trying to think how to do it. What I would be doing is more of these. I need more of these. I need them to get to 30 pitches, 40 pitches, 60 pitches in these live BPs. And that's putting you in a really good position. So now think about it in the big leagues. If you're an 80 pitch outing, that's not that uncommon. If you're at 100, that's really good. It's no longer where 100's the starting where we start to take you out. And then you get to 120, and now that's too much. It's now 80 to 100, even 60 to 100, where it's insane to me. But I think there's a couple things. I'm trying to put my hat on here, my coordinator hat. I'm looking at him and saying, how do I line up a minor league outing that's I can either think about it as a day game, so I can get him back on a flight that night, so he's here the next day, and line it up with a day game with the Dodgers. So what I'm thinking is, like, let's say Sunday's a day game. I want him on a flight that night, going to, let's just call it the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, which is right there, or a bus. And you can do these type of things. You can have him on a bus, go to the Cal League. They have a team in the Cal League. I believe it's still the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. We can look at that, which is right down the road. I got him in a limo driving over to the game. He pitches that night. So if it's a day game, night game, he might be able to pitch that night. Or day game. He doesn't miss anything. Plays in the game, and then he goes to Rancho Cucamonga. If it's my home team, that game is not starting at 7 p.m. That game is starting at 8 p.m. Give him time to get across the city. Give him time to relax, prep. That game starts at 8 p.m. I get my 3 innings. I'm good. And again, once we get him to 3 innings in a game, he's basically major league ready. This is no longer, I don't need to see 5 innings. I just need to see 60 pitches, 70 pitches. And then I'm good to go. And if I can get him at that many pitches, remember, we can get him in a game, 2 inning at the Quakes. And then I keep saying the Quakes. I'm assuming that's what it was when I was there.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there. Okay. And that's still the Dodgers high A?
A. Yeah.
And then their AAA should be the Albuquerque.
Would that be the Isotopes?
Oklahoma City, maybe. I think it's Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So Oklahoma City is a little tougher, but they do play in California and they do stuff like that. And that's a higher level competition. You do want these higher level competition. I'm just making sure I'm trying to line up these and I'm matching. I'm saying, okay, let's say they're going to play in Sacramento, which is a big league city now. And I'm flying them up to Sacramento for the day. I'm only missing one day.
Why not just have him, rather than going to the minor leagues, just have him do like the first inning of a Dodger game, so you don't have to put him through all that travel.
It adds a lot of stress on the team. I'm okay with this, but there are processes on rehab that you don't feel great. You need to get through some stuff. You need to just work on a pitch and you don't want that happening at the big league level. Plus, the moment you step on a big league mound, it matters. It is a different beast. You have to get outs. And in the minor leagues, I just need my 15 pitches.
Right.
It sucks. It's selfish, but if I give up 10 runs, it doesn't look pretty and I hate it for my team. It doesn't matter. It's the minor leagues. Win or lose, their job is to get me ready for the big leagues. And their job is to get ready for themselves ready for the big leagues. Win or lose, I can have my minor league teams go 0-140, whatever, how many games they play. All of them go over. If I'm producing big league talent and the big league team is winning baseball games, who cares? We all talk about how great it is to win minor league organization of the year. That is amazing for the draft and for minor league coaches and the minor league process. And I was a part of it. That is a huge deal. At the end of the day, if they all go for 0 for, I'm winning and I'm doing World Series parades every year in the big leagues, who cares? I don't care if the Yankees farm system is doing good. When they're in the 90s and they're winning World Series, who gives a crap? Because prospects are great, parades are better. I'm not the first one to say that.
No, you are not. But this is the kind of insight that we get from David Aardsma, the king of pitching. And where can the king hold court?
Top Velocity Pro. Come on out to Top Velocity Pro. Look me online, topvelocitypro.com. Top Velocity Pro and all of your socials. Hit me up. You will see I'm going to say it. You'll find my number on there. You want to talk pitching, want to get somebody in here to work on throwing. I work with all types of throwers. Full evaluation, from ground up to the arm approach. We do everything is holistic approach. So we look at nutrition, look at workouts, work at mobility, work at everything. I've got all the data needs you need. I've got all the cameras you could ever possibly want. There's nothing anybody can provide you that I cannot give you with a little better mindset and a big smile on my face.
I love the smile at the end of that. That was fantastic. You know who doesn't have a smile, though? That would be former major leaguer Darin Ruf. Have you heard about this situation?
Okay, I've heard about it. I've seen some posts about it. I haven't done a deep dive into it, but I know where he's coming from.
So if you take a look at this video that we have on the screen right now, Darin Ruf runs right in, and apparently there was a piece of metal that wasn't fully covered by the tarp. And he got really cut up. He had some problems with his leg. You could see right there. He had some major issues, and he believes that's the reason why his career was ended shortly. And now he's suing the Cincinnati Reds.
For permanent,
I don't know how I feel about this.
So a substantial, permanent and substantial deformities to his knee. That's not like soft language.
No, it's not. But that's the kind of language that lawyers use so they can get it in front of a judge. If he just said, oh, he got some cuts and now he's trying to figure out a way to cash in, I don't think the judge would like that. Now, I'm not trying to say that Darin Ruf is a liar. I'm sure that he got a very significant injury from that. However, my question is this. Can Aaron Judge sue the Dodgers for having that little, gap where the fence is, where he ran into the cement and he messed up his foot? Can Mickey Mantle's family sue for when he stepped in the drain in the outfield and his knee exploded and he was never the same player?
Yes.
When you play, so you
have I absolutely agree. Yes, I think you should be able to.
Okay.
There are things on baseball fields that I have for years said that is a problem. That drains on baseball fields the way they used to be were a massive problem. Were huge issues. I've seen Oh my God, who was it with the Blue Jays? I played with him with the Mariners, outfielder, last name starts with an S. I can't believe it. Blew his knee out running across the field because a sprinkler head never went down, or sprinkler head caused a divot in the ground, a bad divot. And I saw it, like horrible divot. Caught his foot, tore his knee up. Career was never. Oh my God, can't believe his name. But these tarps, 100% problems. 100%. I have seen that. I have ran over there during batting practice. I've hit it and gone like, this is bad. And this in any other workplace would be a lawsuit waiting to happen. It's just we always assume based on players, like you make a lot of money, you just accept the whatever the field is and you just go with it. The tarps are issues, and they are no longer, and here's my thing about it when we get into the legal argument of this, that's not the playing field as it should be. That is an addition to the playing field that the players don't agree with. There's no need to have a tarp sitting on the field outside of the fact that it's easy to have it there instead of underneath or away. It's laziness by field crew, which I'm not calling them lazy. They're actually, field crews are incredible, hardest working people. But it's a lot easier to just leave it on the field so we just get it out quick. It's convenience. Instead of, that's perfect. That's a perfect language. Out of convenience, they've added something on the field, and that has taken away playing surface that we all agree to. Here's the fence. Here's the wall. Here this. Nope. And then not today. There's a giant metal thing sitting there, and if you run into it, sorry. Like, that's not religion. That's not legit, and we don't agree to those things in contracts.
But doesn't every stadium in Major League Baseball have the tarp on the side?
Not necessarily. Here we go, Tampa. I'm just throwing this out there.
Well, Tampa has a freaking dome, so
when they had a dome, the hurricane kind of removed it. But yes, but that is, we're getting into the legal arguments here. Not every stadium has that. And just because it is on the field doesn't mean I'm accepting the responsibility of you just putting a tarp arbitrarily wherever you want to put it.
See, here's my
unprotected, by the way.
Here's my argument to this, though. If you run straight into the tarp to make a play, you could have stopped yourself and let that go foul so that you don't get hurt.
The responsibility of your job to make the play.
I understand.
Does not assume the risk of you added something in my way.
Right, but if someone runs headfirst into the outfield wall and gets a concussion or breaks their neck, it's kind of the same thing. You can slow down so that you don't run at it full force. So where's that line between, okay, this is here, and you could have slowed down the same thing as the wall? It's a little too similar to me.
To me, it's that you're asking somebody, and again, I'm a little bit on the fence here, but I have seen those metal spots on the tarps and gone, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is an injury, career ender waiting to happen. And you look at his career and what he did after he hit that and messed up his knee. And obviously we'll have the MRIs and doctors to back up that his knee is trashed because he hit this metal part of the tarp. And I've seen parts of those tarps that are not, dude, it's hit straight up hitting metal that was added there later on.
Dude, it's a piece of metal that's attached to a very, very heavy tarp. It's going to
be... That is movable. That is removable.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
You're in the restaurant business. If you just all of a sudden put a metal pole in the middle of your restaurant and
I have a strip club.
but just out of nowhere, and it's movable, and you just have it there. Or how about this? When you clean the floor and somebody slips on it, this is like legal 101. Everybody gets sued for that. But that's what they're doing, and we're just going, oh, you're a ball player. That's just, you're good with that. And if you have something like that, to me, it's always been there, and it's always been asking to be a problem. And now finally somebody's like, dude, this is a problem and it ended my career. Now, I'm not saying Darin Ruf at that point of his career at 36 in Milwaukee, he ended up hitting 192. But remember, he had like 160 after this happened. And he had a good season the year before, 261 the year before. Again, not a whole lot of at-bats. But this is like, these are those things that make changes happen. Now, there are fields that have little like encased boxes in the same exact place, but it's a little bit more of like, this is the dimensions of the field. It's what it's going to do is he's going to win the lawsuit. Or if he loses, it's only going to lose because of collective bargaining. Right. That's the only reason he's going to lose it, because of collective bargaining and the process within there. But if he wins it, which he will, and even if he loses, it's going to change the language of all these things. And it's either going to put like all of these things somewhere protected away from the field and make the dimensions of the field exactly what they are. And I'm actually worried that it's going to make every field have to be normalized.
Yeah.
Or two, it's going to just change the language of the contracts. And that's what's going to happen. Is like, you're accepting every single risk the moment you walk out there, no matter what's placed there. If it's there, it's your job to see it before the play, yada, yada, yada. There's going to be some things like that. But I feel bad for him, man. Darin Ruff's a good guy. I've known him since he was in the minors. I've met several times. There's actually some great videos of me pitching to him on my rehab assignment back from the Yankees after major hip and elbow surgery. He was a tough at bat at the time when I was throwing 92, trying to just come back from all that stuff. But he's a great guy, and I've heard nothing bad. And I just feel bad. I feel bad that this is how it ends. At the same time, I don't feel bad for finally somebody saying it.
Okay. So, well, first and foremost, do you have Darin Ruff's phone number?
I don't think so. No, but I can get
I would love to get that guy on.
Right.
So he signed his last contract with the Brewers. He had a 1-year, $720,000 deal. And he was at the age of 36. I mean, how much, if you were a jury and let's say he won the case, how much would you give him? Because at the age of 36, how many years does he have left? 3, maybe?
2, yeah. I'm going with I say this. It starts with 2 years of contract. He wasn't. It'd be really hard for an agent or a lawyer to sit there and say, well, he had 23 at bats with the Giants and he hit well, and then he had 30 at bats. How could that have played out? Let's say realistic, he hits 261 the rest of the year. He makes another $2 million the next couple of years. So I'd say $4 million there, and then you're talking about the injuries and like career. You're saying, okay, is this going to bother him the rest of his life?
And I wouldn't give him more than $2.5 million.
But again, like, you could probably make an argument to 261 at that age gets you $2 million a year for 2 years. There's 4. Well, they're going to try to get a lot more, but I bet he's probably suing for 10 and could get it only. And if he doesn't, again, it's only going to be based upon the collective bargaining process.
Right. Okay. Well, it's going to be interesting. I look forward to following this story because this is going to be an interesting one. And you know how I am with money and finance and all that. This is the kind of stuff that really gets me going. And since we have a show and we're going to have to pay some bills, before we go, I want to remind everybody, make sure you check out J&J Sports Cards. We have to pay the bills around here, and one of the ways we do that is with J&J Sports Cards. So make sure you check it out on I was actually waiting for the graphic to come up on eBay. You can check it out. We have some really cool cards up there right now, and there'll be some more cards up there next week. Some real bangers are coming. We have we're actually going to a baseball card show this weekend.
Nice. And what's the baseball card show?
Just one in Staten Island, New York.
What's it called?
It's at St. Anne's Gym.
Okay.
Yeah, so go check that out. There's going to be some bangers over there. There might be I don't know if my partner will allow me to sell this for him, but he does have a Bobby Witt numbered rookie that is, yeah, just insane. It's probably like a $5,000 card, but we have some mystery packs. We got a lot of really cool stuff going there. But I digress. That's the end of the show. I just want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We have a lot of people who watch the show who do not subscribe. I think it's something like 99% of the people who watch have not subscribed yet. So make sure you do that. Send us a comment. Let us know. Do you think Darin Ruf should win his lawsuit? What would you give him? And tell us what you think about Ohtani. Should he go down to the minors, or should he have his rehab starts with the Los Angeles Dodgers? I am completely all in on these stories, and I can't wait to see how they're going to play out. I'm James. He's DA. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.